to really do some damage at playoff time. And you've got an owner is a guy that's involved. And I've told you guys many times in this show, it's not always the GM who fires the coach.
Mm-hmm.
Many, many times it's the owner telling the GM to fire the coach. And I've had it happen to me on a couple of occasions. And you got no way out of it. So, you know what, they had no juice in that series against Edmonton. Am I wrong in that? I know give Edmonton full marks, but they had no juice in that series.
Well, yeah, I mean,
in my opinion.
Bitter disappointment for sure.
It is.
Yeah, bitter disappointment.
Mac,
You know what? Go ahead.
I just want to ask you generally about the idea of coaching in today's NHL, where it feels like the players now have the power. It used to be that the coaches be like, they wouldn't give you the opportunity, the ice time. You had to do what they said. Now it kind of feels like you can't criticize a player publicly.
I'm with JB
Berube
on
wouldn't
this
say
one,
a
Matt.
bad word about any Leaf.
I'm with you. Are they too soft, some of these kids, that they can't handle a little bit of a challenge, even if it is public?
Yeah, I would say it's a little different, but I don't think it's that much different. I really don't. I don't think you're accurate on that. Like, coaches have been fired every 2.5 years. For how long? You know, for how long? I mean, it happens. It happens a little more often because of maybe an ownership change. Maybe that's a little bit of it, the type of owners that we've got now. The pressure to perform when you've got billion-dollar franchises and many in excess of a lot in excess of $1 billion. But this isn't new. I mean, we've watched this in every sport that coaches get fired. Every year there's 8 or 10. What about Black Monday in the NFL? They fire half the league. So I don't think it's that different than it was when I was coaching, to be quite honest. I really don't.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure on the stats of it, Doug, like in terms of, you know, our coaches fired more quickly. It does feel the thing that hasn't, or it has definitely changed, is the coach's ability to challenge star players, or at least to speak about it. It just feels impossible that you're not, you know, this Ottinger thing kills me, Doug. You can't pull a starting goalie who gives up 2 on 2 shots in an elimination game and then say we pulled him because, hey, he's bad in these games every time. That seems pretty fair criticism to me.
No, I don't have a problem with them pulling him. I have a problem with the commentary post game. You know, you're pulling a guy. That's embarrassing to a goaltender enough, but you don't have to call him out in you know. And I mean, look, yeah, I didn't like. I mean, I'll guarantee you he didn't get fired because of the Ottinger pull. I guarantee you that. Was there a firestorm over the post comments? Yeah, there probably was over that. But you know what? You know, coaches, it's tough. It's a racket, and you know you know that going in, and I'm looking at these guys that get hot. Who got hired in Pittsburgh? Somebody fill me in on who he is. Now I know him when he coached the Chicago Steel in the United States Hockey League, and I know he's an assistant in Nashville, and I'm thinking I watched the Penguins eat up Mike Johnson and spit him out.
I forgot about him.
Oh, yeah.
What is it?
It was before Sullivan, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Hey,
right?
You don't hire Kyle Dubas to get the next John Tortorella. You're trying to find, a creative.
I'm the last guy that would ever criticize a guy that was paid his dues as an assistant coach and gets a head job. I get that. But I remember Jimmy Rutherford interviewing me for the Pittsburgh Penguins job, and he said to me, one of his questions was, what are you going to do on the bench when Crosby and Malkin tell you to F off? Right. That was a question in my interview. I don't think Dubas probably asked that question.
Nothing? Did you answer?
Thank you, sir. May I have another?
Nothing?
You know what? No, I'll tell
Nothing?
you what my answer was. I said, Jimmy, I'll tell you this right now, Jimmy. They would never tell me to, because I would have quelled it when I knew it was coming close. I would have quelled it before it happened.
Yes. One more on Dallas, Mac, because we do have a team that's supposed to be contending and win a Stanley Cup as early as next year again. They just signed Rantanen to that massive contract at almost $100 million here. What if it is the owner that's, was needed this change? Where does he go? And Jim Nill now, do they go and get a veteran? Do they go get the next Carberry? Like, where do you think this goes?
They go to a veteran player's coach. That's always what happens. You go from a hard ass to a veteran player's coach. That's what you go to, and that's what Jimmy. Jimmy Nill is as good a hockey manager as within the NHL. He's going to do his homework, and I think he'll make the right call here and make the right decision. And there's some still. I've watched some of the guys getting hired. There's still some pretty quality veteran guys out there that haven't got jobs, and I suspect that's the route Jimmy will go. Jim Nill's got to win too. Jim Nill's not getting fired if they don't win the Stanley Cup next year, but Jim Nill wants to win with this group bad. And he knows his owner wants to win, and he knows his fan base, and there's lots of pressure to win in Dallas, to say the least. So, it'll be a thorough search, and I think Jim will make the right decision. I think he's that solid a hockey guy.
Good to go on to the
and
cup
it
final.
It won't be like the Pittsburgh hire.
It
will not.
Hughes.
Well, and look, I think Dan Muse has paid his dues,
For sure.
but anyway.
Can you just one more ad?
No.
Can you think of a bigger challenge for a rookie like that, head coach, to go in there and you still have Malkin and Crosby and Letang? Does Sid really want to now break in a new puppy?
I would say, knowing Sid, he won't say a word, but he would be shaking his head right now more than I'm shaking my head.
All right.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
It does.
It's not ideal for sure with those veterans.
Oh, no, it's tough. It's a tough job for a first-time head coach. And look, the kid has paid his dues. He's a quality hockey guy, I'm sure. But this is a tough gig. And listen, don't ever think it's comfy and cozy in Pittsburgh, because the Fenway group are not overly excited right now about what's transpiring in Pittsburgh. They saw their fan base dwindle dramatically. They paid a ton of money for this team. They did not expect this to be going on. And this team is a long way, in my opinion, from being competitive.
All right, on to the Stanley Cup final.